welcome to the Zato guide, right? I've been getting a lot of questions. Everybody wants to pick up this character because they're thirsty for him, or he looks super cool, or you like the way little Eddie looks as he goons out here and there, you know what I mean? You can do cool little dust animations, respect and taunt animations, you know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of people want their hands on Eddie. But then they're like, oh my god, he's like a negative edge character. What the fuck does that mean, right? What is negative edge? Who knows, right? So this is what negative edge is. So to start off, obviously, negative edge is something you do need to play Eddie, okay? So negative edge is the concept of something happening with a character when you release a button rather than when you press it, right? Everything we know about fighting games, stuff happens when I first press the button, right? When I press the button down, my punch comes out. With Eddie, that's not the case. I press punch here, little Eddie doesn't do anything. But when I release punch, he does the shadow piercer, right? So that's what negative edge is. And he can do all his special moves like that. So you can manual summon with quarter circle back heavy slash, and then he just goons out, right? Or you could summon with a quarter circle forward and a corresponding attack button, whether it be punch, kick, slash, hey, thanks for the follow, or heavy slash, right? So you could do all that. But if you manually summon him and then negative edge one of these buttons, that same attack will come out, whatever the corresponding one was to the special move input. So I manual summon him. When I hold punch down, this happens. When I manual summon him and hold S down, that happens. And remember, when I special move with S, that move happens, right? So that's kind of the basis of negative edge and how it relates to Eddie's specials. Now, something new to Eddie in this game, Zato, is his ability to cancel one Eddie special move to another, right? So you get summoned, right? And you do this, and then you can do another special move input, right? I'll do this. And then I input a special move, and Zato, you can see, does a little clap. And Eddie has a little red ring around him, and he stops whatever he's doing and goes into the next move, right? So you can do this again from negative edge, you know. You can cancel it into each other, you can cancel it into another move. Doesn't matter, all right? So that's basically the fundamentals foundation of Little Eddie. Moving on from Little Eddie, now you obviously have the humanoid Zato as well, right? So Zato has the same buttons as every other character in Guilty Gear. He has punch, kick, slash, heavy slash, and dust, right? So in Guilty Gear Strive, basically you combo with normals in a way that are called gatlings. Gatlings are basically chains or just buttons that you can mash. You don't have the time to combo them or anything like that. However, gatlings in this game are much more restrictive than gatlings in Exert or Plus R or any of the previous Guilty Gear games. So the way gatlings work in this game are punches can only go into punches, like stand punch can only go into crouch punch, and crouch punch can only go into stand punch, right? You can mash them. And they can go into command normals. This is my 6P, forward kick, forward heavy slash. So again, I can cancel any of these into those, right? I can cancel them into each other and then cancel them from there into my command normal, okay? So that's how punches work. Your kicks can only go into dust and command normals. So my 2K can go into 2D or can go into 5D. My 5K can go into 2D or 5D, right? Or my 5K can go into 5D, you give me. Or they can again go into command normals, all right? So there you have it. That's kind of how kicks and punches, your light buttons, quote unquote, would work. So besides that, there's also your slash, your heavy slash, right? So you have two slashes in this game, technically, besides your crouch slash. You have a far slash and you have a close slash, okay? And then you have a crouch slash. But for the sake of this, you have a far slash and a close slash. So both of these buttons can go into heavy slash. But close slash can also go into far slash. You see that? Close slash can go into far slash, which can go into heavy slash. Close slash can also go into crouch slash, which can also go into heavy slash, right? Can also go into stand heavy slash or crouch heavy slash. So your slashes go into your heavy slashes, and your close slash can also go into your dust. But your far slash cannot go into your dust, and your heavy slash cannot go into your dust. You cannot go heavy slash into dust or heavy slash into slash. That's like a reverse beat, and it's more of a character specific thing that Zato does not have. So now that you kind of know how to control Little Eddie, or like what Little Eddie's about, right? And like how the Gatlings work. So let me explain like what are the good normals for Zato, right? So Far S is good. Very quick. If you get a counter hit, it'll go into drill. Same with 2S. If you get a counter hit, it'll go into drill. Both of these buttons are your big go-tos. They're big, long-ranging normals. That's primarily what you use to poke at this space and just kind of harass. Because a lot of time, and especially in this game so far, at least in the beta, if it translates to the launch game, the drill knocks them away. So a lot of the time, they're like rolling away, and then they're going to want to jump or backdash or something like that. So if you chase down and have time to get that button out, a lot of the time it will catch them trying to jump or mash or something like that, and then you can go into drill and knock them down from there. But the real juice for Zato in this game comes off of 2K and 2D, basically. Like any type of sweep knockdown, 5K, 2D, or something like that. Because Eddie Gauge in this game depletes really quickly, but refills really quickly. So because it depletes really quickly, you need to make that first mix-up count to then have Little Eddie still available to get big damage combo follow-ups. Because without Little Eddie, Zato doesn't really get big damage, okay? Like, the biggest damage you get without Little Eddie is something like that, legitimately. Like, you get like 5S, which is close S, into heavy slash, into drill. Like, that's about it, right? So, there's not too much. So, a lot of the time, you're going to want to be fishing for something like this if you can get in range. 5K is good. 2K, 2D also. If you can get in range, that's a lot of the time what you're going to want to be doing. And because a lot of the time people are up backing in this game, even off of Eddie pressure, you're going to want to harass with like a 2K to a 2D, something that's going to keep them on the ground and make them pay for up backing. So yeah, like something like, you know, once you get knockdowns like this is when you can do stuff like, you know, you put the drill behind them and you do your fancy mix-ups, right? That's really when this is going to start coming into effect. So right, that's when you can do all that crazy fancy stuff. So that's all important. 6P is a pretty decent anti-air. Again, it doesn't have too tall of a vertical hitbox, but it is upper body invulnerable like all the other 6Ps. So if they're coming at you like instant air dash distance from like that far away, 6P is a good answer. 2H is the juice though. 2 heavy slash is your big counter hit starter that you can get a big combo off of. Right now in the beta, if you get like a counter hit, you can get like counter hit and then raw summon, and then like do 2S into drill and do a fancy follow up and yada yada. If you already have Eddie out, then you can just do a frog follow up and it's really easy and you do a crap ton of damage. So that's like the normals to keep in mind. A far heavy slash is pretty decent, but again, like far slash has more range, right? You can see. So a lot of time you're going to be wanting to harass with that instead. Let me see. 2D. Decent sweep. See, it has decent range on it. Rarely do you use it raw though. Jump normals. So jump normals. Jump kick is pretty good. I think all his jump normals are actually pretty decent. Jump kick has a good hitbox on it. You can use it to harass. Jump S also. This is like your primary jump normal because it's got like a 360 hitbox on it. Very good harassment tool. Jump heavy slash is pretty decent. It's got like a weird arc on it. It makes you descend very quickly. So stuff like 6 heavy slash into dash cancel. This is 6. I should go over that too. Forward slash, and like if you whiff that button, it makes you descend very quickly. You see, and then you can do like, you know, lows. You can fake highs with stuff like that. Jump dust is you can use as a tool to get around. It is much faster than flight or anything like that, as you can clearly see. It is much faster than his instant air dash, which is like this. His instant air dash like that. You know, that's how fast that is compared to something like this, you know. But in addition to the 6P as his command normals, there's also 6K. This is a pretty slow overhead. You can combo off of it if you have Little Eddie out. You can do things like this into that, and you can kind of combo that way. You can also RC it and get a combo 5S to 2H into like frog. And that's also available to you. So 6 heavy slash is his command normal. That's very new to him in this game. This is not like his old 6 heavy slash at all. And it's primarily used as like a throw bait in this game. It does low crush a lot of the time. I have seen it lose to Potemkin 2D, but what doesn't, right? But this is a -1 on block as of the beta. But also, yeah, you can see it takes him airborne. It's clearly really good up against throws, and he can dash cancel it. It is fake unless you have Little Eddie there to actually cover you. You can make them block, so you can get like highs off of it. And you can dash down, yeah, and then like whiff and go low, right? That's a high version, and then whiff and go low, or whiff and command grab, right? So you have mix off that, but they can jab in between this, right? If I put like if I do counterattack settings, after block, just do a stand punch. See, like this is very much not real. So you have to have, if you haven't conditioned them in any way, or if they know to test like that, they have the reactions for it, or if they just know, you have to have Little Eddie out to cover you while you do something like that, right? Sorry. See, like, so if I have Little Eddie out to cover me like that, then I could do my mix-up, right? And then they can't mash on me. But if I don't have Little Eddie out, then they can freely mash on me like that. So you really gotta make sure you have your stuff, either you know your opponent's not ready for it, or you have yourself covered. As far as Eddie goes when it comes to specials and supers, most of his specials are going to be related to Little Eddie. The only special he has that is not related to Little Eddie is Drunkard Shade. Drunkard Shade, the big mouth joint, comes out. This can reflect things, it can reflect projectiles, it can also reflect physical attacks, but it often trades with physical attacks. It hardly ever reflects them cleanly, but it can reflect projectiles. As of the beta, it can reflect Ram's swords, like legitimately when she throws the swords out, as well as the explosion from them in the corner. So just to give you an idea, it reflects a lot of stuff. So that's his only like special move that's not really related to Eddie, and in a sense it's also still related to Eddie, because if Eddie's out and you do Drunkard Shade, he goes sprinting across the screen like that, and while he sprints across the screen, he's invulnerable during that little dash, so he can bypass Faust items, projectiles, all of that stuff, right? So if you combine these two things, if you time it properly, a lot of the time you can reflect the projectile and get Little Eddie closer to the opponent, but it does take some finesse to do. So that's his only special not related to Little Eddie. All his other specials basically are summons that just let Little Eddie come out without actually like, or basically let him come out and do a special move immediately, like I said before, right? Like he either goons out or he immediately comes out and does something. So that's kind of the entirety of his special moves. As far as his supers go, these are his two supers. One is Amorphous. It tracks the opponent. It is a slow startup, but yeah, it tracks the opponent, does massive damage. Mainly what it's used for is corner. If you like get a big corner combo, you're definitely gonna want to end it in Amorphous. So like if you ever like splat them on the wall or something, like, yeah, the wall break with Amorphous does so much damage. Like if they're ever splatted on the wall, he wasn't really splatted on the wall right there, but if they're ever stuck there, you should always end the combo in Amorphous, because it does massive damage. You get the plus tension meter gain from breaking the wall, and when you break the wall with a super, you get plus frames. They get hard knockdown like you saw right here, right? So yeah, if they're ever splatted like that, you should always end it with Amorphous like this. You see it does massive damage, and then they end it in a knockdown, so you can run up and do 2K, 2D, and try for the knockdown if they're like holding up or something, right? So that's mainly what that super is used for. Now, he has another super, that's this, right here. This is also performable in the air. Oops. Whoops. And it also tracks, it kind of tracks at the beginning of the super, so it's very easily dodged. Like if you're not locking down the opponent or anything like that, they could easily move out of the way of the super and not have to block it. But the big important thing about this super is, like, you know, if you do a bunch of stuff, you deplete your Eddie gauge, right? You're depleting your Eddie gauge. What you can do is do this super, and it immediately refills the Eddie gauge. See, so Eddie's back in action, you can keep doing your pressure, and yada yada. So even though they got out of all that nonsense, then you still can have a way to refill Eddie gauge and make sure they still have to deal with all kinds of pressure. So that's kind of his supers, and like what his special, well, we didn't really break down his specials too much, So like the usefulness of his specials, you can see the shadow punches. It's really good at covering space. You can cancel this into frog a lot of the time if they're holding up, because there is a gap between these two punches, so they can hit little Eddie. So a lot of time you want to like cancel it into this or cancel it primarily into frog. Frog is a really good like just space control tool. It does have kind of like a weird hitbox where characters can kind of dash through it.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
Is that sometimes it will get dashed through, but if it doesn't get dashed through, and that's a gigantic reward, right? So be wary of that. This is also a really good space control tool, but it's primarily going to be used for like mix-ups that we saw that I gave an example of earlier, right? Or like stuff like this, you know. But also in the corner, this is primarily a mix-up tool. This is his new HS move. It's called a pose, and basically like anything that happens where this guy is like creeping out of, it just gets absorbed. It gets like 100% absorbed, right? Like, see, just all of that gets absorbed, right? Wherever he's at, just absorbed, and then you can take advantage of it. You get like a huge reward, actually. Sorry, so you can see that is huge damage right there. So that's like primarily what you want to use this for. It's really good in conjunction with like anti-air. So if they jump in and you do this and then like come down and fall in the snakes, it's really good for that. So it absorbs all kinds of tools right there. You can use it to pressure them in the corner where they're like, oh, they don't want to jump out, they don't want to press the button because it'll get absorbed, then they'll get hit by snakes or they'll get counter hit by you. So you can really set up an easy command throw mind game with that move as well. So that's primarily what his specials are kind of used for. Also, I forgot that drill, invite hell, really huge special move unrelated to Little Eddie. This is like a gigantic thing about Zato. This is like a huge part of his game. So as you can see, if they get hit with it in this game, it's a mid, it's not a low or anything. They roll away, so that's unfortunate, but it'd be like that. But yeah, this is one of your main harassment tools. It's very fast in this game, doesn't have much of a cooldown. Pretty much as soon as it's off screen, you can do it again. But yeah, it's pretty quick. Depending on where it hits, it can be plus. But like, it usually has to hit on like the edge. See how it has like an edge hitbox there? So like you can, if it's right under them like that, it's actually kind of negative. But if it hits like that, or like on the edge, like that, it'll be kind of plus. So yeah, like that. So depending on where it hits, it kind of affects them with the block stun and whatnot. But it's pretty good. And then you usually use it a lot of the time when you're not in neutral, like off this. Like a lot of the time you're just harassing with like far S into drill or 2S into drill. Like this is a huge part of Zato's game, just doing this legitimately. And then otherwise you're gonna want to use it like as a meaty setup, right? Yeah. Oh, also this thing, Drunker Shade, I forgot to mention, it's a hard knockdown. So there hasn't been too many setups found that take advantage of it right now, but you can do something like that if you want. You want to end the combo like that for the hard knockdown. Yeah, that's kind of something you could do as well. So I did mention earlier in the video that Drunkard Shade actually moves Little Eddie across the screen like that, and he has invulnerability. So yeah, you definitely are going to want to use it a lot of the time in matchups, a lot in this game, specifically because like there's so many characters with long-reaching normals and there's a lot of up back. So like characters like Axel, or these characters that can hit you with long range like Ram Lethal, you can often do this like a pose to absorb a normal and then use that to get Little Eddie behind them and apply some pressure that way. Just wanted to add that little tidbit for Drunkard Shade. So basically, after you have all of that under your belt in regards to what Eddie does, normal, specials, yada yada. So now, how do I play a character that's two characters in one, right? That's kind of where we arrive at. The philosophy behind it. Well, basically the philosophy behind it is that you use one of the characters to cover the other, and you use the other character to cover the other, right? You use Zato to cover the puppet, and the puppet to cover Zato. So to kind of help you with your muscle memory and kind of getting the ebb and flow of the character, you can do a really simple drill. This drill will work across any Guilty Gear game you play with Zato, whether it be Plus R or Guilty Gear Exer. Basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to summon Shadow Punch, and then do this, and then do this, and do this. So you're like, why do I want to do this, right? So basically, it accomplishes a lot of things that you're gonna have to practice with a lot with Eddie. So basically, you shadow punch, right, and then you dash up. So this already practices moving Zato while Eddie is doing an animation, right? You see how I dash forward with Zato while Eddie is doing the shadow piercer animation, okay? So it practices that, and then you're gonna have parts of the combo where while Zato's doing an animation, you're gonna move Eddie forward, right? So see how I move Eddie forward during the 2S drill. And also, one of the other things you're gonna have to do during this is you're gonna have to hold down the heavy slash button when you do the drill, so this doesn't happen. Because if you don't hold it down, Eddie will do a different move, right? The move you do not want. So you can see in the bottom left corner of the screen with the little virtual buttons and stick, when a button is highlighted, it's being held down. So you can kind of get the flow of what I'm doing if you take a look at that. See? So again, you can do this across pretty much any Guilty Gear game. You can do it with Shadow Punch or Shadow Kick in Exert. You can do it with Shadow Punch in plus R. You could also do the reversal summon in plus R. I forgot what it's called, but basically that'll give you Buzzsaw for the Muaru rather than the traditional Muaru in plus R. So you can do it with that as well. Basically, practice that and it'll really give you an idea of how to flow with the character and the type of stuff you're going to need to do in regards to like how to hold buttons and what your fingers are going to be doing, and kind of get you attuned and accustomed to the character. Also, I get a lot of questions like, should I play plus R or Exert Zato if I want to get prepared for Strive Zato? Now, I will say that playing either version of Zato will help you pick up Zato in this game quicker, but don't expect everything to be transferable or applicable one-to-one, because this character is very different from his Exert and plus R iterations, and his Exert iteration was very different from his plus R iteration, but this one is even more so separated from those two. So because of that, again, not everything is going to be transferable one-to-one, but it will get you used to controlling two characters, and again, kind of the ebb and flow of how the character works, you know what I mean? Where it'd be like, you do stuff like this, you know, it's kind of hard to show you what I'm talking about in this game and applying to other games, but basically a lot of the time is you'll have special moves where Zato or where a little Eddie will reach where Zato won't, and that's when you're going to want to use little Eddie, but you're kind of thinking about how to protect the little Eddie to get there in the first place, right? And then how do you then take advantage of what little Eddie can do with Zato? And that's kind of the philosophy behind the character. So again, whether it be plus R or Exert, either one will help you, but don't expect everything to just be like, okay, now that I've played that character, I can play Strive Zato 100%, I'm ready to kick everybody's butt, you know what I'm saying? That's just not gonna happen. It's too different of a character, but it will get you used to controlling him and the puppet and two characters at once, which is invaluable. The experience on that, I'm telling you, will definitely pay off. What's my arcade stick layout? My arcade stick layout is the default Guilty Gear layout. It is punch, kick, slash, heavy slash, and dust.